Hello math students, here we are again for another lesson, this time course 2, lesson 44, notes. And we will go to your table of contents. I'd like to remind you of that so you're keeping up with it. And we are going to be putting in lesson 44, which is all about division answers. All about division answers, and the page we're going to be flipping back to will be page 122. 122, right up here, 122, and once again, going here, page 122. All right, and we're getting to the place where we're going to be ready for a test very quickly. After we finish lesson 45, we will be needing a test. So hopefully you're getting your questions answered. I've had a few students who've been talking to me, texting me, letting me know they don't understand a problem. I'm more than happy to help you with that. But other than your forms quiz that we did for lesson 43, where you wrote your answers on that forms from your assignment, I really have no idea how you're doing when we're doing this so far away. So you're going to have to be proactive about telling me that. Okay, lesson 44. Today's date is April 21, 2020, and this is Tuesday. Well, actually I'm recording it on Monday, but this is Tuesday that we're doing this. And our assignment topic is division answers. This is, again, I'm going to say very much a review for most of you, very much a review. We've been doing division since 3rd and 4th grade, probably even before that. You've had remainders for answers, which is typically what we've done. Many of you already know how to take a remainder and turn it into a fractional part, and we've been working with decimals. So really, we already know what we're doing. It's just a matter of putting it together. And why are these division answers so important? It's because we're dealing with ratios and probabilities, and we're dealing with percents, and so it's important to have a good grasp of that. I hope that maybe on the side you're finding some time to do your flashcards, because that would be important too. Okay, so let's start right out with a very simple problem. Let's say we want to divide 27 by 4. And this is on page 317 in your textbook. If we want to divide 27 by 4, we ask ourselves, how many times does 4 go into 27? Well, I know that 4 times 5 is 20, and 4 times 6 is 24, and 4 times 7 is 28. Whoops, 4 times 7 is too much. So the biggest I can go in is 4 times 6, which is 24, and that gives me 3 left over. Okay, so typically we've written it 6 with a remainder of 3. But if we do this very same thing again, 27 goes in 6 minus the 24, we have 3 left over. We can also write it as a fractional part, 3 of 4 left over. So there's a fractional part. And I bet you can guess what the decimal would be, because 3/4 comes out to be 0.75. But let's just work that. Here we have 27 once again being divided by 4. We're going to go in 6 times with 3 left over, but this time we're going to put a decimal in, add a couple of zeros, and start bringing those down. 4 goes into 30. 7 times 4, which is 28, with 2 left over. Bring down another 0, and this time 4 goes into 25 times. So in this case, our decimal is 6.75. Remember, this is a terminating decimal. It actually comes to an end. This is the fractional remainder, and this is just the remainder stated as it is. So that should be a review for you guys without any trouble at all. If we look at this, what does it represent? Let's take a little scenario. Let's say we're going to go on a class field trip. Wouldn't that be nice to get out of the house here and to actually do something? A class field trip, and we're going to take a bunch of vans. And we have 27 students in our class. And each van will hold only 6 students. So what we need to know is how many vans do we need so that everybody can go on the field trip. And we're talking about students and teachers and everything. 27 total passengers, and each van will only hold 6. So hey, some of your family cars hold that many, right? So with these same numbers, what then does this number represent? This represents the total number of passengers. This represents, well, actually this is a different problem. I kind of messed up here. Let's do it this way. Let's go 27 and divide that by 6. The 27 represents the total number of passengers. The 6 represents how many of those passengers will fit in each van. I've got the 6 here instead of up there. So if we do this, now we're going to wind up with 4. That's 24, with our 3 left over. What does that 3 represent? 6 students out, 6 students per van into the 27 number of students. The 4 represents what? How many vans? But what does the 3 represent? What does our remainder represent? It represents 3 students standing on the sidewalk waiting for a ride, is what it represents. And that means they didn't get to go on the field trip. So let's, we could also put that down as 4 vans with 3 of 6, with 3 students left over. There you go. And so then how many vans do we need? Well, 3/6 would then also become, come on, I'm going to rearrange that there. Sorry about that, guys. 3/6 would reduce to 1/2. So how many vans do we need? Because that top number represents how many vans? 4.5 vans. Well, good luck buying that half van. I just don't think it's going to happen. And we can also represent that as 4, and if we were to go ahead and do the math, 4.5 vans, which isn't going to happen. So if we're going on a field trip and we're taking vans, we have 27 students and each van will hold 6 students. How many vans are we actually going to need? In this case, we can't have kids left standing on the sidewalk. You don't buy partial vans. So we are going to actually need 5 vans. And I would say, if we kind of draw our little picture here, boop, boop, boop. I'm just going to make boxes for the other 2. 3, 4, 5. So here's our little vans, and if we put how many students in each van? 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's 6 times 3 is 18. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's 6 times 4, which is 24 kids, but we've got 27. 27. So that means we've got 3 left over for this van. You know what? What if we took 1 from here and 1 from here? So now we have 2 vans with 6 kids in them. That's that one and that one. And we have 3 vans with 5 kids in. Will that be the right number? Well, let's find out. 2 times 6 is 12. And 3 times 5 is 15. If we add those together, yep, we have our 27 passengers. And this is a much more even distribution. We're going to have this one coming over here and this one coming over here so that we have 5, 5, 5, 6, and 6. All right, so the division problem, we can come up with a remainder. We can come up with a fractional part. We can come up with a terminating or maybe even a repeating decimal, and this was just a little bonus information there. All right, let's try another problem. Let's take divide 54 by 4 and write the answer as a number with a remainder. Write the answer as a mixed number. And write the answer as a decimal. Okay, so here's our problem that they're going to give you. First of all, we have to decide what's going on the inside of our division sign. If we're dividing 54 by 4, then I hope you remember that the 54 goes on the inside and the 4 goes on the outside. The 4 is our divisor. Will 4 go into 54? Yes, it goes into 5 one time. 1 times 4 is 4. With how much left over? 1. Bring down the 4. 4 goes into 14. Well, it doesn't go in evenly, but it does go into 12. So 4 times 3 is 12, and that leaves me with 2 left over. Now we can write it with a remainder, which would be, because here's our remainder right here, so our answer would be 13 remainder 2. Now let's keep going here. If we do it as a mixed number, we're going to have 2 fourths, which actually comes out to be 1/2. So it becomes 13 and 1/2. Remember to always, always reduce any fractions now, and see if we don't give it the remainder and we don't give it the mixed number, we're going to need to put a decimal point here and add a couple of zeros and see where we go with that. Up, 4 goes into 20 how many times? 5, and you guys knew that 13.5 is the same as 13.5. So you're going to run into this kind of a problem as you do the problem set this week as well. Right there. All right. One more little thing. We're going to turn on over to page 123. And this is lesson 44 continued. Okay, and we've got one more little piece to the lesson and then we'll be actually quite done. Okay, so it says, what if we are supposed to divide a number that has a decimal by a whole number and round the quotient to the nearest thousandth. So there's thousandth. Okay, so we're going to be rounding our answer to the nearest thousandth. All right, we're going to start dividing 37.4, dividing by 9. I happen to know that 9 times 4 is 36, which I know you know as well. That leaves us with 1 left over. We're going to bring down our 4. We're going to put our decimal point straight up. 9 does go into 14 one time, and that leaves with 5 left over. So it looks like we haven't come to the end yet. We need to keep going. 9 goes into 50. How many times, guys? 9 goes into 50. 9 times 5 is 45. That's 5 left over, and now I'm beginning to see a pattern. And by the way, our secret code word today is pattern. I'm going to write it down so I don't forget. Our secret code word today is pattern. We're beginning to see a pattern. So again, this would be 45 with a 5 right there. So we can see that the 5 repeats. They want us to round to the nearest thousandths place. So let's take 4 point tenths, hundredths, thousandths. Can I just leave it like that? Absolutely not. In order to round to the thousandths place, I have to go out one more. Well, we're going to recognize that this would continue with another 5. It's going to be 4.15 repeating. In other words, we don't need that because the 5 is what repeats. But if we were to take this out, it would just continue on there. We want to round to the tenths, hundredths, thousandths place. So what will this 5 do to the 5 in front of it? Well, because it's 5 or greater, it's going to bop this one on its head, and we can say our quotient is 4.15 4.16, rounded to 4.156. So you'll be finding that kind of problem, and that's what they want you to do. Your assignment today, guys, is to do the practice set. And that would be A through, I think I've assigned A through F. But if you want a little challenge, go right ahead and do G. We'll let you do G. We'll let you do G for a challenge, and I know many of you can do that. All right, I have another question that I'm going to ask right here on the video, because I know that the kids who are watching this video clear to the end are my faithful few. We've only been doing one lesson a week, and that is painfully slow. And some of you are chomping at the bit because you know you're getting ready to go into pre-algebra next year, and we're not even halfway through this textbook. If you are interested in moving faster through this textbook, I am interested in working with you, but we need to know that your parents are okay with it, because it's probably going to require more time than what we've told you we're going to do. Remember, we're trying to keep you down to 4 hours a day. And if you would like to move faster, and if your parents will give permission for that, I would be more than happy to let you fly through it, as long as you are getting really good scores and we're testing and finding things are okay. So if that's your case, then I need you to text me or have mom or dad email or text me, and we can talk about that, and then I will work out a plan for you so that you can move a little faster, or faster at your own pace. Now, this is not for any of you who want to move slower. We are going to keep right on moving at this pace, one lesson a week, because I think that's about all it's going to let us do in the time that we have, and keeping you down to 4 hours a day. We will keep moving and grades will still come in, but I'm willing to work with those of you who want to move faster. All right, I've already given the secret code word for today. I've given you your lesson, and you guys have an absolutely great rest of your day. Don't forget to get this assignment done, and then watch Wednesday for the rest of the assignment for the week. Can you guess what it is? Yep, the rest of problem set 44. Bye now.